And greetings, my friends, patriots, lovers of democracy, truth, and justice, believers in peace, freedom, and the American way. Thom Hartmann here with you. And it is Wednesday, but it's the day before Thanksgiving. And so unlike Yum Foods, which owns Pizza Hut, which just fired a fellow by the name of Tony Rohr in Elkhart, Indiana, because he is the manager of the Pizza Hut there, and he said, why don't we take the day off and give it to our employees? We are actually taking the day off tomorrow on Friday and giving it to our employees. We've got some really cool best of shows, so if you're a regular listener, you're going to want to listen. But the point is that today is not Friday, it's Wednesday, but it's the last day I'm on the air this week live. So Senator Sanders is with us. It's our Brunch with Bernie hour. Bernie, welcome.
Good to be with you, Thom.
It is always great to have you with us. I know there's a lot on your list.
Well, let me begin by just wishing all of the listeners a very, very happy Thanksgiving.
And if I may interrupt you, Bernie, I just want to say one of the things I'm most grateful for, and I wanted to talk about this later in the program about the things we're grateful for. One of the things on earth that I'm most grateful for is you, not just you being on this program, but the important work that you do in the Senate, the positions you take, the way that you have actually altered the course of politics in this country. I am so grateful for you.
Well, that is very, very kind of you. Thank you, Thom. And I want to, reciprocate by saying the job that you do and other progressive talk show hosts is not an easy one. You're kind of outnumbered 10, 20 to 1, but you guys do a fantastic job in allowing people in this country to hear another point of view. So I thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
All right, now that we've finished buttering each other up, let's get to work.
There you go.
Congress is on break for Thanksgiving now, but there are a lot of issues that are out there. I want to briefly touch on some of them. The Budget Committee is doing its work, mostly at the leadership level, on trying to end sequestration and craft a budget that I hope makes sense to the American people. And I'm on that committee. And the point that I have been trying to make is that, we've got to look at the reality of where we are as a country today before we talk about a budget and cutting programs for the middle class and working families. And that is, as the Pope just reminded us the other day, we are living in a world in which there is massive wealth and income inequality, and that's certainly true in the United States. We have more wealth and income inequality in America today than we have had since just before the Great Depression in the 1920s. And before you talk about cutting programs, you have to understand that the middle class of this country is disappearing. More people are living in poverty than any time in American history, while the wealthy and multinational corporations are doing phenomenally well. So you have to understand that reality before you talk about cutting programs that will devastate the lives of millions of people. Second point, in terms of the budget, how did we get to where we are today? And we can never forget that when Clinton left office in 2001, this country was running a $236 billion surplus. The reason we're in deficit right now is that we waged two wars, Iraq and Afghanistan, and we didn't pay for it. We gave huge tax breaks, including $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 2%. Under Bush, we passed the Medicare Part D prescription drug program written by the insurance companies and the drug companies, not paid for, and we had the Wall Street crash, which resulted in a significant drop in revenue. That is why we went into a deficit. And you don't cut Social Security, and you don't cut Medicare, and you don't cut Medicaid because you went to war and you didn't pay for it. That's absolutely absurd. So those are the propositions that I start with as we engage in this budget issue. Just the other day, I think something very important happened, and that is that Pope Francis came out with an extraordinary paper. And his paper talked about unfettered capitalism, which is something that we are living under right now, as a new tyranny. He talked about a global economic system which lives under the idolatry of money, that virtually everything this system does is not designed to improve the quality of life, not designed to help people in need, not designed to create community. but it's designed simply to make the people on top even wealthier. And then he even touched on, which I thought was, quite amazing, he even touched on the media. And he talked, and I quote, he says, "How can it be that it is not a news item when an elderly homeless person dies of exposure, but it is news when the stock market loses 2 points?" End of quote. That's what Pope Francis said. So he is talking about a world culture which worships money and worships those people who make billions and billions of dollars and ignores a declining working class, ignores the people who are really in need in this country. And I really applaud the Pope for speaking out on these issues and hope that other religious leaders will make income and wealth inequality not just an economic issue or a political issue, make it a moral issue. When we have in recent years seen a huge increase in the number of millionaires and billionaires at the same exact time as we continue to have the highest rate of childhood poverty in the industrialized world, something is very, very wrong. And that is a moral issue. And we have got to be talking about that. And I'll tell you something, Tom. We put something on our website just a few weeks ago, and we said, is income and wealth inequality a moral issue? And we asked people to comment on that. We had something like 5,000 people commenting. I'm not just saying yes or no. They were sending sometimes long statements, sometimes short statements. But I think what the Pope is talking about is of huge consequence, and it's something that many, many people believe. It's something that politically in this country we do not deal with. Certainly very few people in the Congress talk about it. Relatively few people in media talk about it. But wealth and income inequality and an entire system which is geared not on improving people's lives, but just making the very rich richer. There is something profoundly wrong about that, and that's an issue we've got to address. Let me say a little bit on veterans issues. I am chairman of the Senate Veterans Committee, and I want to mention the veterans that we are making some pretty good progress on a number of issues. We just passed out of committee what we call a markup, a legislative session where we have passed legislation which we now going to try to get to the floor of the Senate as quickly as possible. Some of the issues that we are dealing with there is expanding VA healthcare. The VA does a terrible job in talking about the quality of healthcare that they have. But in fact, as most veterans will tell you, VA healthcare is pretty good all over this country. There are about 6.2 million people in VA's healthcare system. There are many others who do not have a lot of money, who are ineligible. We're going to try to expand VA healthcare to get more people into the system. We are also expanding something that the VA is doing, and they have been pretty strong on complementary medicine. A lot of vets come into the system dealing with pain problems, and the VA has been doing well in terms of using acupuncture, using meditation, using yoga. We want to see those concepts expanded within the VA. Lastly, the VA today does not, in general, provide dental care to veterans, and we have a pilot project that I hope begins the process of expanding VA health care to include dental care. Tom, when we talk about health care in this country, we often forget about dental care. But you have just a huge crisis in terms of the general population. A whole lot of people just cannot afford to go to a dentist. Dental care is very, very expensive. And we're going to try to open up that system within the VA. So those are some of the issues that are out there right now.
Senator Bernie Sanders with us. It's our Brunch with Bernie. 2 days early, it's Wednesday, but we're live with Senator Sanders right now. It's the day before Thanksgiving, of course. Bernie will be back with his answers to your questions here on Brunch with Bernie on the Thom Hartmann Program, 15 minutes past the hour.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Be sure to check out Bernie's website at sanders.senate.gov. He's got a great newsletter there, the Bernie Buzz, and it's a great news site as well. Welcome back. Ed in Klamath Falls, Oregon, watching on Free Speech TV on Dish TV satellite network. You are on the air with Senator Sanders.
Good day, Senator Sanders. since we've had such wonderful results with Iran sanctioning them to get rid of their nuclear weapons, how about we sanction Israel to get rid of their nuclear weapons and turn the entire Mideast into a nuclear-free zone?
You'd have to do Pakistan.
I think, Ed, that would be a goal that we should, in fact, strive for, not only in the Middle East, but all over this world. One of the things, I'll tell you, Tom, that we should be thankful for this Thanksgiving is, I think, way back in 1945 or 1950, if people would have guessed that we could have gone, given all of the turmoil in this world and all the wars that have been fought, that there has not been another nuclear attack since the attacks on Japan, I think people would be very surprised at that. So we've had luck, if you like, up until now, but I think the effort should be to end nuclear weapons on this planet and certainly in the Middle East.
Yeah. Jamie in Dorena, Oregon, watching Free Speech TV on Dish Network. Jamie, you're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hello to you guys. I want to thank you, Tom, for bringing the nuclear issue every day. I couldn't think of a better way to do it. People should be alarmed, and that's a way to get them to appreciate the fact that America is the greatest threat to civilization because of its nuclear dying industry.
Well, Jamie, I think our Radcast reports that we do daily on our news are more about Fukushima. But in any case, you have a question for Bernie?
Oh, yes, I do. Millions of tons of nuclear debris is all over our country. What are you doing to clean it up, Bernie?
Well, first of all, what we're trying to do is stop the creation of more nuclear waste by moving towards shutting down nuclear power plants in this country and stopping the creation of new nuclear power plants. And in Vermont, after many, many years and a lot of hot debate, our one nuclear plant will be shut down fairly shortly. Second of all, a major problem that we have is there is no nuclear repository for waste in America right now. And that is a huge problem because the waste is being stored on location, on site, for many nuclear plants around the country, which were never designed to, on a long-term basis, maintain nuclear waste. So we need to move forward with another nuclear repository. Yucca Mountain, I think, is not going to be that place, but we do need to find a place in which we can safely store the waste that we have, and we need to do our best to understand that nuclear power is not the future of energy in this country, and gradually do as Germany is doing, and that is shutting down nuclear plants and replacing them with sustainable energy.
Yeah. Bernie, we just have a few seconds. Do you see any movement in that direction in Congress?
Well, I tell you what I do see is that for a variety of reasons, mostly economic reasons, you're not going to see a whole lot of new nuclear power plants built. Many of my Republican friends and some Democrats in Congress are pushing for new nuclear, but if you look at simple economics, you find that nuclear is just very, very expensive compared to other forms of new energy. So I think they're not going to get their way.
Great. We'll be back with more of your questions for Senator Sanders and Brunch with Bernie here on the Thom Hartmann Program right after this. It's 20 minutes past the hour. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. It is Brunch with Bernie on Wednesday here on the Thom Hartmann Program, the day before Thanksgiving. Bernie taking your calls. Wayne in Chicago, Illinois, listening to WCPT. You are on the air with Senator Sanders.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to make my comments very brief because of time constraints. Back in 2008, President Obama did not go with the public campaign finance. So he dismissed public campaign finance, and he went the other way. So he raised about $750 million. John McCain stayed with the public campaign finance. He raised about $84 million. But the president owed all of those people that he got that money from, which is one reason why he's going with this TPP thing right now to pay them back. What I want to say to everybody listening is the Honorable Bernie Sanders will not take money from corporations, will not take money from Wall Street. He will be beholden to nobody. He will owe nobody. He is the man to vote for President of the United States. Because Hillary Clinton is going to take money from Wall Street and the corporations also, and she's also going to be looking for ways to pay them back. But Senator Sanders will work for you, the people, the citizens of the United States. Thank you very much.
Bernie, I think Wayne's applying for a job.
Well, Wayne, thank you very much for those thoughts. Let me just talk a little bit about some of the points that Wayne made. Everybody has got to understand that when we talk about jobs and the economy and minimum wage and healthcare and the environment, nuclear power, everything else, underlying all of those discussions is the issue of campaign finance. I know it's not a sexy issue. People prefer to talk about this or that other issue, which seems more immediate, more concrete. But Wayne's point about campaign finance is hugely important. So long as we continue to have a system, and we have had the system for many years, and Citizens United has made that decision much, much worse, that situation much worse. So right now what you have is billionaires and multinational corporations pouring huge amounts of money into the political process, often without disclosure. They can donate the money to some organization without disclosure, and then that other organization supports candidates or runs negative ads against other candidates or whatever. So you have a situation where the deck is stacked against candidates who are trying to represent working families and in favor of candidates who represent big money. So clearly, we have got to do two things in terms of campaign finance. Number one, we have got to overturn this disastrous Citizens United decision, one of the worst decisions ever brought forth by a Supreme Court in the history of our country, giving carte blanche to billionaires and corporations to buy elections. Number two, as Wayne indicated, we have got to move toward public funding of elections. I know that's a controversial idea. People say, well, why are we using taxpayers' dollars in campaigns? And the answer is, long-term, that is a much more cost-effective way than allowing corporations to buy elections and get everything that they want. So those are the two principles, I think. Number one, overturn Citizens United. Number two, move to public funding of elections so that candidates do not have to be beholden to the wealthy and the powerful.
Ashes in Palatine, Illinois. You're on the air, Senator Sanders.
Hello. Hi, Tom. Hi, Senator Sanders. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, Ashes.
My question is, for Senator Sanders, what do you consider, like, for a recent college graduate, like, what major in colleges do you think are good for college graduates to enter into the middle class? Like, what college majors do you think are good for middle-class jobs?
Well, that's an interesting question, Ash. I hesitate to answer that in this sense. The conventional wisdom would be go into something related to technology, and that's certainly important. And if people are of that bent, that's great. Go into science, go into engineering, and we certainly need scientists and engineers. But I don't want to push aside the liberal arts in terms of where students should be going. One of the things that concerns me very much, and Tom, you and I have talked about this, is that for a democracy to function well, we do not only need skilled workers, and certainly we do need those. We need people who understand what democracy is about. We need people who understand what culture and the arts are about as well. So, Ash, I'm not going to give you, any great advice here. I think what people would tell you that the new jobs that pay decently are often in technology, often in science, and people could do well there. But I don't want to push aside the importance for us to have college graduates who can become great teachers and who understand what democracy is about.
Okay, Michael in Denver. We have a minute to the break. Michael, quick question, please.
Oh, yes. Well, I wanted to call up and ask the senator about the nuclear option in the Senate and all, because I feel that a lot of people have this fear about the Republicans taking power, and I say maybe I'm one of the few. Well, if they take power, let's see what they're going to want to try to ram through to the minority, which is going to to be the majority of the nation if they take power.
Okay, let's let Bernie get in on this, Michael.
Mike asked a very important question, and that is what the majority leader, Harry Reid and the Democrats, and I voted for before we broke. I think what Reid did was absolutely right. The media suggests that, in a sense, what he did was dramatic. The truth is that what the Republicans have been doing since Obama became president in 2008, that's the real story there. And we have seen a level of obstructionism and a number of filibusters unprecedented in American history. And if we're going to try to move the Senate from being a dysfunctional institution, that had to be done, and I think we have to go further. But maybe we'll carry that discussion after the break.
Okay, we'll pick it up on the other side. We're talking with Senator Bernie Sanders. It's our Brunch with Bernie hour here on the Thom Hartmann Program. Your calls for Senator Sanders live Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, right here on the Thom Hartmann. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. It's the Thom Hartmann Program and our Brunch with Bernie a week early. Senator Bernie Sanders on the line with us. Bernie, did you want to wrap up a thought?
I did. Mike from Colorado asked about the nuclear option, and it's a very important issue. So let me just say a few words about it. The Senate today is basically dysfunctional. The Constitution, as everybody knows, provides for the president to nominate judges with the advice and consent of the Senate, and obviously to appoint his cabinet. And that's not a very radical idea. And yet, even on things as simple as that, things that have been done for hundreds of years, what we have seen is an unprecedented level of obstructionism coming from Republicans. Tom, we have had, since the beginning of this country, about 168 filibusters regarding presidential nominations to the judiciary or to the executive branch. Half of those have been since Obama has been president. We've had the absurd situation where it's taken us forever to get a Gina McCarthy to be named, appointed head of the EPA, Tom Perez, head of the Department of Labor, members to the National Labor Relations Board, Richard Cordroy to be head of the Consumer Financial Protection Board. And the reason is not that these people are qualified. The Republicans are not even arguing that. What they are arguing is they don't like these agencies. They don't like consumer protection. They don't like the Environmental Protection Agency. Many of them would just as soon eviscerate that agency completely. They don't like the National Labor Relations Board because that board can protect and does protect working people. So what their solution to those agencies is simply to deny the president the right to make an appointment. So you reach now a situation which is so absurd that when the president nominated three people to serve on the D.C. Court of Appeals, which some argue under the Supreme Court is the second most important court in this country, the Republicans didn't say that these people were unqualified. Their solution is, you know what? Why don't we reduce the size of that court by 3 people? I mean, that's how absurd the argument is. So I think what Reid has said is enough is enough. We've got to at least be able to appoint presidential nominees, and let's do that. So we went from a 60 vote threshold to a majority vote, 51 votes. My own feeling is that we've got to go further, and I could tell you not everybody in the Democratic caucus agrees with me. But I think, given the enormous crises facing this country, especially in terms of our economy, I worry very much that when the minimum wage bill comes up, probably in a few weeks, which will raise the federal minimum wage from $7.25 an hour to $10.10 an hour, that we will have probably 53, 54, 55 votes. And you know what? That won't pass because the Republicans will filibuster it and require 60 votes, and none of them, in all likelihood, will vote for it. I worry very much that at a time when real unemployment is close to 14%, and we need to create millions of jobs, that we can get 52, 53, 54 votes for a jobs bill, majority vote, strong majority, but we will not be able to get 60. So my own thought is that we should go to majority vote, not just for presidential appointees, but for legislation as well. At least do it for a short period of time. Maybe have the majority leader sit down with the minority leader and say, listen, we got a crisis facing us in this country. We have to create jobs. We have to raise the minimum wage. We have to deal with gender equality. We have to deal with the affordability of college. And if you guys are simply going to obstruct, we're going to have to go to 51 votes. If you're able to work with us, you can get a reasonable number of amendments. You have the opportunity to take as much time as you want to express your point of view, but you cannot obstruct. And if the Republicans refuse to go along with that, I would recommend to the leader that we have 51 votes, because the crises facing this country are so severe that they have got to be addressed. And if Republicans want to vote against a jobs bill to create millions of jobs, let them do it. But let's not play around with this filibuster and this motion to proceed and all that crap. Let's have it out in the open. Who's for a jobs program? Who's against it? Who's for raising the minimum wage? Who's against it? Who's for gender equality in terms of ending discrimination in employment? Who is not? Who is for making college affordable? Who is not? And let's have the vote. And let's do away with a lot of this parliamentary rigmarole that we have seen in recent years. So, bottom line is I think we have taken a step forward to bring back a modest degree of functionality into the Senate. We've got to go further.
John, in Minneapolis, you're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly say I was listening to a program the other day on NPR, and the latest ploy, it seems like, of the conservatives is to pit one generation against another by saying that transfer payments to people probably my age is far greater than what the younger generation is getting in terms of what they're getting out of the federal budget. And in terms of what you have said, of what Bernie has said, and many people, it's really a problem of getting, the tax money from the wealthy to fund what is necessary for this country. But they want to frame this conversation in terms of very cynically, one generation against another. And in this conversation on NPR, it was like, well, it's a given that the wealthy aren't going to give up any more of their money. But there's a lot of different issues that go along with this. And I know my congressman was trying to have the tax write-offs for oil companies stopped. But also there's a lot of offshoring of money.
Absolutely.
Corporations. Yeah.
Well, thank you. John raised a very important issue. And look, what the Republicans are very, very clever about, and not just the politicians, but the billionaires who fund the think tanks and who come up with all of these papers, are trying to do is deflect attention from the real issue. And the real issue is that we have an obscene level of wealth and income inequality in America. In the last 3 years that I have seen information about, from 2009 to 2012, 95% of all new income went to the top 1%. In terms of wealth, the numbers are just beyond belief in terms of the percentage of wealth controlled by the people, a handful of billionaire families on top. I mean, one example, the Walton family of Walmart has more wealth at one family than the bottom 40% of the American people. And speaking to John's issue about money, because Walmart pays wages that are so low and their benefits are so measly, that many of Walmart's employees end up going on food stamps. They go on Medicaid. They and their kids are on Medicaid. They live in affordable housing. They need government help in order to take care of their basic necessities of life. Now, how does it happen that the wealthiest family in this country is unable to pay wages and provide benefits so that their employees do not have to go on government programs? Those are the kinds of issues that we should be talking about. In other words, massive welfare for Walmart and the Walton families, rather than what our Republican friends always try to do, and that is to play one group against another. So they'll play the middle class against low-income people. They'll play young people against older people. In terms of what John has talked about, their thought here is, well, the wealthier, the older folks are doing just fine. We've got to worry about the kids. Well, they don't worry about the kids. 22% of our kids are living in poverty, the highest rate of poverty in the industrialized world. It is an absolute disgrace. They really, and their response is to cut food stamps, to cut Head Start, to cut Title I educational programs. So to suggest that they care about the kids is simply untrue. But to say that the elderly are doing very, very well is also absurd. You have a situation where 20% of the seniors in this country are living on an average income of $7,500 a year. That is pathetic. And I can tell you that, because I'm chairman of the committee that deals with this, that all over this country are programs like Meals on Wheels, which provide nutrition, good quality nutrition to very fragile seniors who often can't get out of their home, waiting lists all over the country. And I have to fight very hard to prevent cuts to that program. So it's not the old versus the young. What it is a handful and a small number of people, the top 1%, the top 2%, who are doing phenomenally well. And again, the Pope made this point. We have an economy that works extremely well for the people on top, while the middle class disappears and poverty is very high. That's how that issue has got to be framed. And our conservative friends will do everything in the world to try not to talk about those issues, and they'll talk about everything else under the sun.
Bernie, just a minute. Did you catch the Pope's comments about trickle-down?
I sure did.
Yeah.
I mean, what was extraordinary about his statement is he wasn't talking in vague terminology, like saying, oh, we should be concerned about the poor. And then every Republican out there saying, oh, yeah, we love the poor, and that's why we want to give tax breaks to billionaires, because they will create jobs. He didn't give them an inch.
Yeah, he said some people continue to defend trickle-down theories, which assume that economic growth encouraged by a free market will succeed. This opinion, which has never been confirmed by the facts, expresses a naive trust in the goodness. It's incredible.
It is. And I really applaud the Pope and hope that other religious leaders have his courage in speaking out on this issue of income and wealth inequality.
Yeah, there you go. Senator Bernie Sanders is with us. He'll be taking more of your questions in just a moment here. It's 45 minutes past the hour on the Thom Hartmann Program. Be sure to check out Bernie's website over at sanders.senate.gov or at thomhartmann.com, our free app, our live chat room, our free message boards, all kinds of cool stuff.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Visit thomhartmann.com for audio and video archives.
But most cool, over at sanders.senate.gov, you can sign up for the Bernie Buzz, and then you really know what's going on in the world. Welcome back, and Senator Sanders on the line with us. Rolando in Granada Hills, California. You are on the air. Thank you for watching Free Speech TV. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Yeah. Thank you for work for the people of the United States, Senator. My question is, we have a lot of talented people in America that understand the problems, the economic problems, socioeconomic problems. And you have the moral authority, and the knowledge, along with Thom Hartmann, to put a team of people like Gene Hightower in Texas. We have Gary Null in New York. You have Thom Hartmann. Go to the big cities, trying to away the people. Dennis Kucinich say, wake up America, but really, it's not enough with one speech. I know that Thom Hartmann do a great job, immense, to explain these things, that other people don't do it. We need to do this in everyday basis, and these people that have a lot of knowledge and talent, they are willing to do this, but they don't have this strategy. You have to put a team together, talk to these people personally, call them, make a telephone call to them, and say, it's time, that you join the forces with these people. Other way, you don't do that much alone.
Right.
Like 2 or 3 people. We need the American people to understand this thing. And for that, we have to educate them. Here in Los Angeles, we have a big city, and we don't have a leadership. Really, we don't have any leadership over here. The anonymous people, young people from 14 to 30 years old, they do a great job to put the people outside. But the traditional left our traditional progressive people, you don't see them in the street.
Well, Rolando,
find a new strategy, and you are the people to lead these things. Well, so please do it. We need you. We need you. Call these people.
Got it, Rolando. Thank you, Rolando. Let's let Bernie respond.
Okay, Rolando passionately makes an important point, and let me just kind of paraphrase and tell you what I think about what he's saying. I think he's 100% right in saying, which is what I think he is saying, that we're not going to bring about real change in this country until ordinary people are involved in the struggle. And I am doing what I can do, Rolando. I think we can do more, and I am trying. There are just 24 hours to a day, and I have a day job, being a United States Senator representing Vermont, so I can't be running all around the country doing these things. But having said that, I think Rolando's point is exactly right. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of terrific people out there, including a lot of young people who need some help in terms of figuring out the political process and the kinds of roles that they can play. And I think he is right. We have not done the kind of job that we should be doing in organizing that incredible amounts of energy, especially among the young people. What we have going for us, Tom, and I want everybody to hear this carefully, is what we believe in, is not fringe stuff. Well, all of the ideas that you and I talk about, in almost every case, the vast majority of the people support us. Poll after poll tells us that the American people want to protect Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. They want the wealthy and large corporations to pay more in taxes. They want to create jobs. They want to raise the minimum wage. These are not radical ideas. These are mainstream American ideas, and we've got to organize around these ideas.
Senator Bernie Sanders with us. Brunch with Bernie on Wednesday. Sure. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. It's our Brunch with Bernie hour. Senator Bernie Sanders on the line. We have calls from Tennessee, Texas, Massachusetts, Illinois, Minnesota, Colorado, Arizona, and others. So let's try to get through them quickly here. Carl in Nashville, Tennessee. You're on the air, Senator Sanders.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, guys. And I'm politically thankful this year in particular, in the last couple of years, that the middle class, the lower class, white people in America, in particular in the South, are starting to wake up and realize that the people like the billionaire Koch brothers and the Republicans aren't really for them, and they're starting to stop voting against their self-interest. Not fast enough for me, but they are. And what I would love Senator Sanders to do is to, me personally, I think even 10-10, the raise in the minimum wage is god-awful.
Yes.
I think it should be around $20 an hour for a living wage. And I think what the Democrats need, I know what the Democrats need to do. They need to show these people for what they are. I call them evil evangelical hypocrites. And what the Democrats need to do is vote constantly, every week if need be. They voted 48 times to get rid of Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act. And what the Democrats in the Senate need to do is say, okay, every time you filibuster us for a minimum wage hike, we'll come back with a bill and we'll raise it by another $1. You keep doing it and keep making these people. This is what I would do if I was a senator. Every time they filibuster 10-10, I'll come back $14. Then they'll filibuster again, I'll come back $16. Then they filibuster again. I will make these evil evangelical hypocrites that none of these people are Christ-like. The Pope is calling them out correctly, and we know who he's talking about. We're the 800-pound gorilla in the room, or elephant in the room, as it were, and we know who we're talking about. These people are inherently selfish. They're greedy. There's nothing Christ-like about them, and I think that people need to see them for what they are, make them vote over and over and over again, filibuster against raising just a bare minimum wage, and that will let lower income, middle income white people see what these people are, and hopefully we'll take back seats in the House.
All right, Carl, thanks very much. I think your point is right on. I was, last month, I went to Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, and Georgia, just to talk about the issues that Carl has raised. Because it is absolutely incredible that you have white working class people who consistently vote against their own interests, not only in the South, but in many parts of this country, who really do not understand who the folks are, like the Koch brothers, who are funding these organizations. How many of these white working class people understand that the Koch brothers want to eliminate the concept of the minimum wage, that they want to give more tax breaks to the very rich, that they want to destroy many of the important programs like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and education that working class people absolutely depend upon? And most of these folks in the Tea Party just don't know that. They're angry and they're hurting, but they have been manipulated to take their anger out against the wrong target rather than focusing on the people who have caused the problem. So I think, by the way, Tom, I think both Rolando and Carl make very, very good points. And that is, we've got to speak to working class people, whites, minorities, bring people together, focus real attention about what this right-wing agenda is about. And what this agenda is about, and let me be very clear, this is precisely what the Koch brothers are about, and others. It is repealing or significantly diminishing every major piece of legislation passed in the last 80 years which provides security or help to the elderly, the children, working families, the middle class, the sick, and the poor. You name the issue, and they are attacking it. And at a time, in my view, when this economy is so fragile, when so many people are hurting so badly, we've got to strengthen those programs. We have to take these guys on, the big money interest on. So I appreciate Rolando and Carl's thoughts on this subject.
We're down to a little more than about 2 minutes here, Bernie. You want to just riff for 2 minutes?
Let's take maybe one more question.
Okay, we'll do that real quickly then. Alexandra in Springtown, Tennessee. Quick question for Bernie.
Yes, hello. Actually, I'm from Texas. My question is there anything going on to get the Mortgage Debt Relief Act being extended? Because I know it runs out by the end of the year.
Well, Alexandra, I can't give you that answer right now. I don't know. But certainly it should be. We know that as a result of Wall Street greed, millions of people lost their homes, and those people are still hurting. So the federal government's initial effort was not particularly effective. I think we've improved that. But the program certainly should be extended. And thanks for the call.
Thoughts for the week?
I guess we can, let me wrap it up by once again wishing everyone a very happy Thanksgiving. And I am thankful, for many, 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 many things, including the opportunity of being on your show and working with you to talk about the issues that a whole lot of folks choose to ignore. And when I look at the crises facing America, perhaps the major crisis is not just inequality in America and the disappearance of the middle class. It's that politically we are not even talking about these issues. I mean, the Pope made a point. We got all kinds of discussion about the stock market, but we don't have a whole lot of discussion about what happens to working families and people living in poverty, not only in America, but all over this world. And the reason we don't have that type of discussion is that, the corporate media is not particularly interested in educating people, in allowing people to learn what's going on in the economy, so that we can bring people together to create a kind of nation in which people have decent income and decent jobs, where everybody as a right of citizenship has health care, not a radical idea, an idea that exists in every major country on earth except the United States, a world in which we are channeling our intelligence and our energy, especially among the young people, to deal with this planetary crisis of global warming, investing in solutions in energy efficiency and sustainable energy. So much that can be done when we bring people together and get them involved in the political process. So with that, let me just again wish everybody a very, very happy Thanksgiving. And Tom, thanks so much for the work you do.
And thank you, Bernie. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll be back